Welcome to the Quimby Chronicles Momcast, where we talk about all things motherhood, family, and keeping your sanity through it all. In today's episode, we're talking about mom anxiety, the constant worrying, overthinking, and trying to control all the things. Ready to join the conversation? Come on in. Welcome back to another episode of the Quimby Chronicles Momcast. I'm Tracy.
And I'm Shantae.
And if you're new here, we are a mother-daughter duo who are just out here trying to navigate life, love, and all of the chaos in between, especially if you want mama, okay?
Yes. And today we are going to be talking about another topic that moms don't typically like to talk about or discuss, however you want to phrase it, and that is dealing with anxiety as a mother.
And mom anxiety is so real, y'all. So real. It's the constant worrying. It's the overthinking. It's the trying to control everything. It's the I'm laying in my bed and like, dang, what am I going to make these kids for breakfast in the morning? Because why? Why are you worrying about that? Well, honestly, it's exhausting. The mental weight of being a mom to begin with is massive. But then you add on all this self-imposed stuff, the anxiety, it just keeps ramping up. So today we're going to get into what mom anxiety looks like, how we deal with it, and how you can start giving yourself a little more grace. Just that we're going to start small, a little more grace. Okay.
And as always, grab your drink, snacks, whatever you need, a blanket, pillow, whatever, get comfy, and let's get into it.
So let's be real. What does anxiety really look like for you as a mom, Shantae?
Okay, listen, and I have plenty of these moments to this day, and I have since I had my son almost 4 years ago. It's, you're in the deepest sleep you could ever imagine, just sleeping so good, everything's so fine and dandy. You hop up in the middle of the night, looking side to side, it's like, oh my gosh, I forgot to do this. Oh my goodness, I forgot to do that. And it's literally you hopping up in the middle of the night thinking, oh, I forgot this, I forgot that. Did I do this? I need to do that. And hopping up in the middle of your sleep to do that is actually like crazy work. That is absolutely crazy work. And I still do it. So if you do it too, there's no judgment. But that's literally what it's like. It's like, say you're going to the store, you're packing, 5 and 6 diapers, 2 outfits, you have 3 pairs of socks. Like you're honestly, it's like you have like this little doomsday bag prepped for your baby. And it's honestly not that serious because you would be out here planning for things that 9 times out of 10 won't happen. But you know that there still is that 1 out of 10 chances that it could. So as moms, we are just gonna pack it anyway. Oh, just in case. Oh, just in case. Or maybe they'll need this. Maybe she needs that. And right. Honestly, it's really not that serious. The most that they'll probably need is maybe a diaper or two, maybe two, and maybe an outfit, depending on how long you plan on being gone or where you're even going. Right. It's really not that serious. But, as moms, we have such that all that angst, obviously it's anxiety, but you have that built up like, oh, well, this could happen or that could happen. And it's really just a moment where you sit there and plan for the worst when it's not necessarily a necessity, I'll say.
Right. Well, let me tell you something, okay? That is, in the words of Shantae, 1,000% accurate, okay? It is mom anxiety for me. It's always feeling like I got to be prepared for every worst case scenario, just like Shantae said. And I mean, it's like we'll be getting ready to go on a trip or be getting ready to go somewhere, and I'm running fire drills in my head for things that could happen. Because why? Why? I mean, and that's the thing, that's why I said like it's a lot of it is self-imposed because I mean, it's self-imposed, not that it's a negative thing because you and especially I get it like in today's society, in the news, you're always seeing something in the news. So I get it, but we got to cut it out. We got to quit it. We got to do better.
That is most certainly true. And like my mom was talking about, like what you see on the news or social media or anything like that, you see all these crazy and terrifying things happening, whether
Right.
it's close to you or not close to you. Because in my area, we just had a scare last week with people trying to traffic from the Walmart that we go to.
Oh wow.
And it was just a mom that, mind you, she has a child and a husband, and she just wanted her some me time, so she decided to go out by herself.
Wow.
That could have turned very badly, and it was posted all in. If you guys know, when you hop from military base to military base, 9 times out of 10 there's going to be a Facebook group for that specific base, and it was shared all over in our area and everything. When the
Wow.
people got caught, they left in a U-Haul. Do you know how relieved she was that she was able
Wow.
to make it back home safe? And this was
Right.
not even 5 minutes from me. It's
Right.
things like this that have you planning for the
Right.
worst possible things, because between the news and social media, whether it's close to you or not,
Mhm.
it's very nerve wracking and just builds more anxiety for you in terms of, leaving the house with or without your kids. And if you do have to leave the house, you are quite literally planning for the worst possible things. And that, in this society, it is tiring. It is very tiring these days to be packing pretty much a whole suitcase just to go 10 minutes down the road. It's
Right.
insane.
Right. And with mom anxiety, it's like your brain never shuts off. Mom's got to be strong, but nobody talks about the mental weight. It's the same thing that I mentioned earlier. You already have this weight of expectations, responsibilities, um, getting to know yourself again since you become a mom. And now let's add on some other stuff. Let's add on all this stuff we're seeing in social media. Um, you know, and then like Shantae was talking about news in her area. I just saw on Facebook, not Facebook, Instagram, one of the news stations reported that there's a guy, he's a realtor and he's a youth lacrosse coach, was arrested for child pornography and bestiality. Okay? He has videos.
Bestiality?
Bestiality, the family dog, Labrador Retriever. Uh-huh. So yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like things that we would never think about happening, they're happening. So that's why we have this added level of anxiety. Because back in the day, growing up, like we just used to run free. Like we used to just we be we'll be out, outside playing. We'll go to the corner store by ourselves. These days, absolutely not. So, I mean, some of our anxiety is warranted, but, we just, ah,
Okay, guys, so let's talk about why we deal with these levels of anxiety as mothers. Honestly, I feel like a good bit of it is, kind of built in and like ingrained in us as moms, but also society, expects, has put off this expectation that moms are supposed to be on top of everything and can do it all, and just how they call moms superheroes. Yes, I would say that that is very accurate,
right.
because you need to be on top of everything, you need to know everything, you need to do everything. Like it's a lot. It really is. And we get that. It's a lot.
Yeah, 100%. Or should I say 1,000%? Okay, because
Thousand.
okay. But, that's the thing. We're raised to be nurturers. We're raised to be problem solvers. We're raised to be the ones who keep everything running smoothly. And a lot of times that's, if you have a partner, hey, babe, have you seen my such and such? Yeah, it's in the closet on the left side, third hanger in. Hey,
Oh
mom,
my gosh, that's me.
that's what it is. Hey, mom, my such and such. Look in the hall closet. It's on the third shelf, all the way to the right. Like, and that's the thing. Everybody comes to us because they expect us to know everything. They expect us to remember everything and stuff like that. And then when things get out of our control, boom, that's where the anxiety starts. That's where we get into panic mode because we're so used to having control. When we don't have control, the whole ship just starts to sink, honey.
And don't don't even get me started on the generational stuff. Our mothers, grandmothers, great grandmothers, however far back it goes, they worried about everything and did everything and just passed that right along to us to do for us and the next generation.
Right, right. I mean, that ain't no lie. That is no lie. So we're trying to break the cycle, but also we're still fighting the same battles that our moms, grandmas, great grandmas, we're still fighting those same battles because the household for so long, yeah, the man is the head of the household, but the woman runs the house. And that includes everything in it. So that has just been, what's the word I'm looking for? Gender roles. That's where gender roles started. And now, that we've become more progressive. There's a lot of women who, they go out and work and they provide, and, the dad stays at home and, takes care of the house. I will tell y'all, my daughter's father, so when she was first born, he stayed home with her for a year and a half. I was like, toodles, I'm going to work. So I used to FaceTime her on my lunch break. I would, FaceTime them on my way home and stuff like that. But he was the one at home taking care of her, cooking dinner. Like that was his thing. But I will tell you, because when I started being like, hey babe, have you seen? Yeah, nah, he ain't like it. He ain't like it. So he's like, you know what? I've had enough. I'm going back to work. So, it's such a hard role to fill. And, the responsibilities and the requirements are one thing, but then we have all this other stuff, all this other outside stuff. Some of the stuff is inside stuff. We are not taking care of ourselves like the way we should be. So that's why we need to figure out what it is we need to do. We need to break this cycle.
So, when did you first realize that your anxiety was just, more than the average normal mom stress?
When I started over analyzing everything, it would be like, okay, so the kids are ready for school. And then I'm looking at like one of the girls' hair and I'm like, dang, maybe I should have done that. Like, are people going to think that I don't take care of her? Are they going to think she doesn't have a mom? Like, oh my gosh. Or, we run out the house and, say one of the kids forgot to moisturize. I'm like, oh my God, like how can you come out ashy? Like that is the worst. You not, you're a representation of me, and oh my God, everybody's gonna think I'm horrible mom. And it was just everything, even at the enjoyable moments, like going to watch my son play basketball. It's like, I wanna be happy and I wanna scream for him and scream his name and stuff like that. But he's not such a fan of it. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like I want to show my support and I want to show him that I'm excited, but I don't want to overstep, and do things that he doesn't like for me to do. So it's just, honey, that's when I knew it was deeper. That's when I knew it was deeper than just regular mom stuff. What about you?
Okay, I would say that there was this one day that I remember so vividly because I would say, as a mom, this was the most anxious day that I have ever had. Even to this day, I still think that is the most anxious day I had. So this was about when my son was about 1 years old. I think it might have been a little before he was one or a little after. I don't I don't remember the date to a T. I just remember how the day went. I started off going to work, and mind you, my day already started off bad. I couldn't find my keys, so I was late. And at this point, I was working at a store that was about half an hour away from me. So I left at a specific time, but I couldn't find my keys, so I ended up leaving later. So then I ended up being late. And then when I got there, I didn't even have the key that I needed to open the store because I was the opener that day. So, I had to call my store manager because I didn't have the keys to open up the store. So they had to come and open up the store for me. Things were breaking. I had to do two separate incident reports. Like, that day was just really, really bad. I had a really, really bad day. And then on the way home, I always bring a coffee with me to drink on the way to work the following day because I would get up at like 3 something in the morning to get there. So I would bring a coffee home and put it in the fridge and then drink it in the morning. But I dropped my coffee all in my car on the way to the car in the parking lot. It was just the worst possible day ever. It was so bad. So then I got home and I was washing my hair. My hair just wasn't cooperating. I literally pulled a Britney Spears and I cut all my hair off. I just cut it
I
off.
I knew that was the that
I
you were talking.
and I was just so hurt because the first chunk that I cut was dead center in the middle, right here up in the front. And I was like, because why did I do that? Why were there scissors in my hand? Don't know. I went from brushing my hair to sweeping it up off the floor. I don't know how it got there.
Right.
It was really, really bad. Like, that was an awful day for me. I've never cut my hair like that since. I do trim it, but I've never cut my hair like that since. But that was, even though I joke about it now and call it like my Britney Spears moment, I felt so defeated. And then I was bald on top of that. Like, I was just, I was not having a good time. Because I am not one of those people that I believe could pull off a bald head. Like, that's not my vibe. So I was upset, hurt, and bald. Like, I just couldn't catch a break that day. I literally could not catch a break. So it was I was down really bad in that point in time. And when my husband got home, he was looking at me like, so how was your day? Because he didn't even know what to say. He didn't know how to bring it up. And I just started crying. I was upset about that for, it was months. Honestly, I'm still kind of hurt about it now. I'm not really upset because now I'm at the point where it's like, okay, hair is hair. But like at that time, I loved my hair. Like, even though I still wore wigs and stuff like that, I took care of my hair and my hair was long and it was healthy. But I just cut it off because it just wasn't cooperating. So, and then I was bald because I had to cut the rest because I cut in the front. If I had cut it in the back, I would have left the rest of my hair alone. But it was right in the front, in the middle. I was so devastated. I was so devastated. Looking back, I probably could have made it work with like some bangs or something, some curly bangs, but it it was too late. I obviously wasn't in the right head to be thinking of solutions to my problems at that time. So I cut my hair and that was that. But it's okay. We're thriving now. We're thriving. Hair is like shoulder length now. So it's okay. We're back on track. Back on track.
All right. So now we've talked about why we're anxious, but let's talk about how we deal with it because living like this with that anxiety 24/7 is definitely not the move. Not at all.
One thing I would say that helps me, and I even implement this with my kids, is taking a deep breath. So if my son's looking like he's getting ready to throw like a temper tantrum or anything like that, I just look at him and I say, no, 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 deep breath, deep breath. And I make him do it like 3 times. He's okay, I feel better. And I'm like, okay, so now what is it that you need? Now we can sit here and have a conversation. And I do it with my daughter. She takes it as a joke, but it also calms her down because if I do it to her while she's crying, if I mimic it to her while she's upset and crying, then she'll do it back and then she starts laughing. So it still works, even though she thinks it's funny. It still
Right.
works for her. And honestly, that's all that matters because my daughter is a crier. She cries and cries and cries and cries. So I'll take the laughing all day if I don't have to hear the screaming and crying because she's at that point where she's doing like screeching, like that high squeal scream where it's ringing in your ears. So yes, we implement deep breathing quite often in this house, about 7 times a day at least between the both of them.
Yeah.
But what works is what works because if I do it to myself as an adult and I catch myself spiraling, I feel like it would work for them, and it does. I'm sitting here spinning out of control, and I won't necessarily say panic attacks, but I would say like anxiety attacks of when, because my brain, there's always so much going on with my brain. If I feel myself just getting worked up, I sit there and I take a breath, or I count, or I listen to music, or I play like sorting games, like do something relaxing.
Mhm.
That's what I do for myself personally. And this stuff may sound simple, but it works for me anyway. So those are a good few things that I do. Sprinkle those in if you would like to try,
Right, right.
because
I
I know
mean,
it works.
look, I definitely support it. What works for me also is writing stuff down. So I'm a big journaler. I don't even know if that's a word. I'm a big journaler. Up any note I probably didn't try to use it as my journal forever. But now I found one, what is it called? Day one. So I do it on my phone. So then I don't have my random books. Cause like before, if I would lose one of my books or I can't find it and I really need to write something down, I just get another notebook and start in there. It'd be random pages. I mean, you know. So now I got all my journal compiled into my day one journal, and that thing is a lifesaver because it has so many different templates that you can use and stuff like that. So it helps me to get the stuff out of my head. It helps me to get my anxiety out of my head. And it kind of grounds me. It brings me back down to reality and lets me know that basically, like, girl, you was tripping. Because read back what you wrote, or I read back my thoughts. I'd be like, yeah, I was straight tripping. So, I mean, it helps. So the breathing, the writing down, I don't know if that helps, but for me, it helps bring me back down to reality. Absolutely.
Love that. And boundaries are also important.
Yeah, I wish
5%.
I could see, okay? The
Clock
clock
it.
has
I know I keep telling you I'm gonna do my nails so I can do it right, but your girl is tired and forgetful, so my apologies. I will get them done at some point. Well, not get them done. I will do them at some point. But
right.
boundaries are so important. We like as moms, we need to know that saying no is okay,
Hmm.
and you don't always need to feel guilty with saying no, because yes, I would say my kids are spoiled, but they also still get told no,
Right.
because the trying to eat upstairs and you want some of my food and your food when we have the same thing. I'm just going to tell you no. We have the exact same things on our plate, and you want to eat off of mine instead of yours when we have the exact same thing. I promise you they taste the same, so I'm going to tell you no. If we have the same thing, I'm going to tell you no. So boundaries are very important, not just kids, all people in your life, kids, partners, friends, family, whoever. It's okay to say no and not feel guilty about it. Just a
Big,
game changer.
big, big facts. Okay. And then I think I've shared with y'all before that for me, therapy, or I mean, it doesn't have to be formal therapy with a counselor or a social worker or whoever. It can be part of that mom tribe that we talk about all the time. Part of that community, talking to somebody who gets it, who understands where you're coming from, and you don't have to feel like I'm a bad mom because I want time away from my kids, or I'm a bad mom because I get anxious about things all the time. You need to talk to somebody that gets it. So because you know being in isolation, isolating yourself and thinking that oh, woe is me, it's just me that's going through these things, that's where anxiety thrives.
And we can talk about self care too, like real self care, not just, bubble baths and
Right,
face
right,
masks and stuff like that. Like actually taking care of yourself so
right.
you can, function as a mom, partner, wife,
Hmm.
whoever you are to whoever. Like we always talk about, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Right,
Now, if the bubble baths and the face masks are what you do to take care of yourself, then hey,
right,
have at it. But for some people, it's deeper than that, and it can only be caused by something that digs a little deeper,
right.
and is not as easy as sitting down doing a face mask or painting your nails or something like that.
Right, right, right. And they'd be like, "Oh, happy wife, happy life." Yeah, no. If mama's not good, the whole house is not good. Have any of y'all ever been like sick, not able to get out of the bed, and what happened? The whole house practically burned down. Okay, you want
Shambles.
like what in the world did y'all do while I was sick? So you got to remember, if you're not good, you're such an integral part of your family, your household. If you're not good, nobody's good.
All right, guys. So before we wrap this up, let's just leave you with this one piece of information from this episode. Mom anxiety is normal, but it does not have to run your life in any way, shape, or form.
Right. Exactly. I mean, you got to give yourself grace. That's part of being a mom, part of being a woman, part of being a human. You've got to give yourself grace. You got to. And your kids, they're going to still love you on your off days. My daughter just told me, first of all, I had an off couple of months, okay? And my daughter, not Shantae, one of my other daughters, told me, she was like, you know what, Mom? Like, I noticed you have been showing up. You have been present. She was like, before you were here, but you weren't here. Like, you weren't doing the things that you normally do, and one of the things that I normally do is decorate, for the different um seasons and the different holidays and stuff like that. And I hadn't been. I didn't do it. I didn't celebrate my birthday like I normally do. So, she was like, I noticed. And she was like, I know it was a lot on you. She said, but I just want to let you know that I noticed that you're showing up. And I was like, because I've been trying. So, your kids are going to notice when you're having off days, but they're going to love you anyway. And, they're going to do what they can do to make you feel better, because for them, they want to see their mom happy. So, again, if mama ain't good, nobody's good. Okay.
Love that. Sounds like you got your, what do they call it? They get that you got your pink back. I think that's what they
Yeah.
say, or your
Is it?
spark, if you want to
Oh.
use spark. But I've heard pink lately.
Oh.
POV. I got my pink back. They
Oh.
got that, like their inner self.
Okay. I support it.
I've seen that. So if you guys haven't heard that, I guess check it on TikTok, because that's where I saw it. So don't quote me on it, but I saw it on TikTok. I promise. It was a trend.
Right.
But yes, we love that. And if this episode spoke to you in any way, or if you feel like this is something that another mom or whoever needs to hear it, then send it over to them, because we love talking to everybody, everyone. So share with anyone who you think needs to hear this, or even if it's just yourself, whatever the case is.
And don't forget, of course, to like, comment, and subscribe. We are on Instagram. We are on YouTube. We're on TikTok at The Quimby Chronicles on all of them. We're The Quimby Chronicles. And then the podcast is also on Spotify if you listen to Spotify for podcasts. So this is it for our episode today. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for tuning in. Keep growing and glowing, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning into the Quimby Chronicles Momcast. Don't forget to subscribe, share this episode, and join us next time as we tackle more of the beautiful chaos that is motherhood.